Hi guys! Doing another random live stream. We have something fun to show you. So I'll remind everybody a little later in the stream to go back and watch the beginning so you can see it. I think this could mean some very fun merch in the works.
More
You
than
want to show?
hot. Do not touch.
Da, 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 da. Styrofoam! Sorry.
Flower cake.
Oh. Thanks, honey.
It's to keep your head safe. No, it's to keep your head safe.
From what? Oh my. Ow!
Ow. Oh.
You guys
She
want to
looks
see
funny.
Alan right now? Hold on. I can't do anything with that thing. Hi, Alan. Say hi. Yeah, hi. Oh, he's reaching for you guys.
He's like, give me the phone.
Yeah.
He just wants the phone.
He's been doing that thing where he like holds our finger, like doesn't try to pull it in, doesn't put his beak towards it or anything. He just holds it. And he started doing it like when he says night night. It's cute.
It won't plug in.
Okay. Ta-da!
Excuse my head.
Wait, I'm gonna flip the phone this way so I can see it. Okay. Ta-da! Wait. Okay. Ta-da!
We got this and nothing else.
What do you guys think this makes?
Donuts.
No.
I think this one's too big.
Yeah. Of course, that is a pretty big one. Honey, we can't do those.
Oh.
So, we can design our own mugs with this. Yay!
Once we get everything else.
Yeah.
11 ounce mugs.
Woohoo! 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 I think this is going to be really cool. The
That
pneumatic
rocks.
mug press.
It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah. Woohoo! Okay, and now we can do the Turner Syndrome Live that I had originally wanted to start for this week. So, I put in the title, why I got blood drawn today. And I wanted to explain and kind of talk about it because it was something that I don't think is rare for Turners. I really don't. So I'm gonna put you guys down there and talk about it while I finish getting the pizzas ready to go in. I got Andrew a regular Costco pizza, and I got me a cauliflower crust pizza that I'm trying. So. It's not working. That's not the best angle. Hold on. Oh, I have my phone stand. Hold on. I know, I'm taking forever. I'm sorry. Hi! Okay. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Natalia. I'm good. I was in town most of today, and I'll explain why. I had a doctor's appointment, and then I went grocery shopping. So, okay. I've got you guys on my tripod now. The house is a mess because I'm trying to go through stuff. So, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Okay. See all of that? It's all stuff we're going through. I'm gonna try to be in front of it as much as I can. So, okay. Okay. I wanted to talk about, while I do this, why I got blood drawn today and kind of talk about just an interesting aspect of HRT that I don't think it's talked about much. So I know I've told you guys the story of me dealing with HRT issues where the generic birth control I was on for it made my stomach hurt. And that was what started me asking more about it and asking to try another, and I got switched, and I've said that whole story before. Well, while I was still on that one that hurt my stomach a lot, I got blood drawn because I was trying to figure some things out. Just, I wasn't feeling good a lot. Like, I was having a lot of digestion problems. I was having my stomach hurt a lot, and not just from when I took my pill. Just, I didn't feel good after I ate food, and I didn't know why. And that was before I hit paleo and did all of that, and that honestly was a big, huge part of my answer. But in trying to figure it out, I mean, I got tested for celiac, and they tested my blood sugar levels to see what might be going on. So I had this whole big blood panel. And one of the levels they tested was my liver levels. And my liver levels, that's a tongue twister, came back elevated. I don't think alarmingly, but enough for them to say, that's weird that they would be higher like that. Obviously not to a dangerous level, just that's interesting. And we didn't know why. And my doctor at the time said, let's test it again and see. That never happened, so I hadn't gotten that done yet. And that was the start of me pushing for a different HRT. That was when my endo wasn't believing me, or I don't know if she wasn't believing me, but she wasn't taking, this is hurting my stomach, something's off. She wasn't really sure of that. And so Max, I was still dealing with that. And I got busy, so I never had the test done again. But I switched HRT. And to me, I was thinking, okay, I'm fine then, because, come on, like, that had to be the reason. If you Google estrogen and elevated estrogen levels and its effect on certain things, it can cause things like that. Some of the things I found that it could bring on were gallstones, which I had, and elevated liver levels. And I was like, okay. I was like, interesting, because that's what I'm dealing with, and nobody's bringing that up. And I very much got brushed aside when I tried to say, hey, something's off with my HRT, which has estrogen in it. So then when I switched and I talked to the doctor that switched me and put me on the lower level, she said, that's really, really high. So I needed to go back and check my liver levels. After getting off of that one, it'll be interesting to see what they're at, because I'm on such a much lower dose of estrogen now. And it was just very enlightening to one of the issues that I never hear talked about, and that's like how your HRT can affect you outside of like the normal complications. Like, nobody ever talks about being on too high of estrogen for Turner's women on HRT. I never see that talked about, and I never see much of a push for outside of myself trying to push this because I've experienced it, but a push for like, no, not everybody needs a super high dose, or doses are different and reacts with everybody differently. It's not a major conversation. It's maybe lightly touched on. But today I had blood work to test my liver levels again, because my doctor wanted to make sure they had gone back to normal and that there wasn't some other source of it that we needed to pay attention to. I'm guessing they're going to be back to normal, but we'll see. Yeah, it was just something I had never heard talked about before, that I had never had anybody before that talk to me about being a thing I needed to be aware of. And I feel like that's pretty serious when it's like throwing your liver into working overtime trying to process what's supposed to be helping you. So, has anybody else experienced that? I know I saw some comments. Let me try to
I'll break it.
find them. I have celiac. I wasn't. Hey! I have celiac. I wasn't positive on blood work, but you can't truly get diagnosed. Wait, it went away. But you can't truly get diagnosed without a colonoscopy with a biopsy. It's common in TS, but it's also hereditary. My liver levels were also elevated. Interesting. So yeah, my blood work came back no for celiac. And honestly, I feel like I'd have a more severe reaction to wheat if it was celiac and not just like my digestion doesn't handle it well. Like I feel like I just am like wheat intolerant, like gluten intolerant. I'm not like full on celiac. But I don't know. I don't want to have to go through a colonoscopy and everything to find out for sure. But my blood work said no for celiac, but I know I'm gluten intolerant because I definitely have stomach issues when I have it. That's interesting that your liver levels were elevated also. Do you know if the HRT you're on is a higher level of estrogen or not? That would be interesting to know. That might be what I'm dealing with because I take my final week of birth control every 3 to 4 months. And last week, when I was supposed to have my cycle, it never happened. I had no bleeding and just cramps, and my stomach has been hurting before I'm supposed to have my cycle. Well, I mean, your stomach hurting before you're supposed to start is, I mean, I experienced my stomach not feeling good the week before. I feel like it's like a warning sign, like, hey, get ready, I'm about to put you in severe pain. But I think a little bit of that is normal, so the not having it come is interesting. Are you normally pretty regular and this month is a weird one? Maybe? I don't know. Hi, Kendra. I'm so glad you got to hop on this one. What did I miss? Well, if you go back and watch the beginning, you will see we bought a mug press, which means we can design our own mugs. Like we need more coffee in this house, but it's not technically supposed to be for us, but you know. And I had my blood drawn today to check my liver levels again after having them elevated after my bad HRT. I want to call it bad HRT because it hurt my stomach. But, you know, the HRT I was on before that I didn't like. I never had my liver levels tested again. So I did that today and hopefully it'll show they're back to normal after not too high of estrogen. Maybe I should have my liver levels checked because I don't know when the last time I had it was. Well, that's always a good one, especially now I'm feeling like with being on HRT and everything, it seems like it's a good thing to just check in and see how your liver's handling what you're on, because I didn't even know that was a thing to pay attention to as far as like checking to see how your liver is processing the medicine. And I feel like that should have been more of a thing than it was. But, yeah. So, speaking of celiac and gluten-free, I'm trying this cauliflower crust pizza from Costco that I'm really, really excited to try, but it's veggie, so I'm adding pepperoni. And mushrooms, because y'all know I love me some mushrooms. I pray for good results. Thank you. I really hope it's back to normal too, and I really suspect that was what was going on, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. When I was younger, my doctor put me on a higher dose of estrogen. My mom was concerned about the higher level, and I was put on a lower level. Yeah, I think it's super important to pay attention to it. And like my doctor today, it was the gynecologist. I had my every 3-year exam, if you ladies know what that means. Fun stuff. But I asked her about some of that while I was with her, and she kind of just said the same thing, like you know have to you have to see how your body reacts, because everybody handles things differently, because everybody's body is different. For the level of estrogen I was on before that hurt my stomach, that means it brought it too high in my body, but maybe it wouldn't in others, or maybe they would have been even more severely impacted, affected, whatever word I'm trying to use there, than I was. Yeah. So everybody's different. It's happened a few times before, but my birth control was a substitute and it didn't work properly, so that's why what happened. But last time I had my cycle, it was just fine. I would say you should get some kind of testing done then. That definitely seems like something's off, maybe. I would suspect not getting a cycle, to me, makes, like, for me, that means the level wasn't right. I didn't get it and I should have. Like, it wasn't high enough usually, because on lower doses, I don't think I would get it, but everybody's different. So I would definitely do a pretty decent blood panel and they should be able to have more information. And that's definitely weird and cause to look into something. My mom is going to schedule ultrasound to check to make sure that everything is okay. That's always good to do checkups in any department of your body. I'm kind of scared. You know, there's a lot of things that testing wise we women get to endure that aren't fun, but they're important. And you know, it's like mammograms. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month this month. It's like mammograms. I've never had one yet because I'm not at the age to start having them, but I have had exams and I have heard stories of mammograms, so I generally get the idea. Doesn't sound comfortable or fun at all. Neither is the exam I had today, but it's important because you want to know what's going on. And the second that you don't, you put yourself at risk for not catching it early enough or not knowing what's going on and not being able to be ahead of things. I think that's just important to be on top of knowing what's going on, even when it's not fun. Thank you, Carrie. I do too. I've never had any form of medicine for Turner's. Do you have Mosaic? Because I know there are some women with Mosaic that aren't on as, that you may not need HRT, depending on your body. Everybody is different. So, yeah. I had mammos at maybe 26 or so. That's pretty early. See, I feel like I'm probably going to have to start getting them pretty early too, because my grandmother had breast cancer and my great aunt had breast cancer, and all from Premarin, which is estrogen, which is what I was started on. But I haven't actually been told that I need to yet. I just feel like it's probably coming soon, just because that needs to happen. So I always get bad medical anxiety. Natalia, that would explain why doctors might not jump on putting you on it. They may just feel like you don't need it. Mosaic and Classic can be different in that way. And even everybody within each can be different. I always get really bad medical anxiety when I go to the doctor because my brain is always like, what if something is wrong? Yeah, I get that too. I can talk myself into thinking I have all these different things, and they go in and they're like, no, you're fine. Really not that dramatic. And I'm like, oh, okay. ordered a bone density scan. That's good to have those, Carrie. I had mine, and that's what told me that I have, oh gosh, Kendra, remind me what the name is. Not osteoporosis, but it's the beginning of osteoporosis. It's like osteopenia something. Osteoforce penna. Thank you. That. Yes. Oops. Osteopenia. Yes. That. Thank you. I have that, which is the beginnings of it. My grandmother had osteoporosis and arthritis. One of the many beautiful things that I have a double whammy of. But the bone density scan is important, and I know they wanted to do another one for me. I think they said they'd do the next one 5 years out, and then if it looked like it had progressed too much farther, they would do them a little closer to watch it. So, my mom had breast cancer, and I found a mass. It was benign. Yeah, I have such a history of it that like my mom and my aunt didn't take anything during menopause because they didn't want to risk it, because they knew they already had risks of it. So they just dealt with it because they didn't want to take the risk. For me, it'll be interesting because I'm on stuff. You know, it's not Premarin, and thankfully I'm now on a lower dose than I was, but it's interesting thinking about how the hormone levels can be affected like that. Darn autocorrect. It's okay. Thank you. He also wants me to have blood work panels and possibly another echo. I have had this before and everything was fine. Yeah, I know mine is once a year they want it done. Just to make sure everything's still all good. Tomorrow I see the doctors. Tomorrow I seem to get anxiety about them. Yeah, Kendra said white coat syndrome. I totally get that. I completely get that. Yes, the care guidelines. They update it. I think they update it every year, right, Kendra? The care guidelines are super important to pay attention to. I know Kendra's like taken it to her doctor before. And I think she's gotten pretty good reactions from taking it. They haven't like felt offended or anything. I'm mosaic and I'm so lucky that I don't have it as bad. For some people, I feel really bad when I hear the stories about what you can get with Turner's. Yeah. I mean, I'm classic and I have a pretty light case. Everybody's so different. It's hard to tell what you will look like. That's why the statistics and the numbers only go so far. Because you don't know what's going to happen with you. You know? Do all TS girls need a bone density scan? Sorry, I got distracted for a second while I was reading it. Trying to unwrap the pizza. I mean, I would at least have an initial one to see what it looks like. I think checking on it is important because what that tells you is things like osteoporosis, arthritis, just how your bone growth is doing and how your bone strength is, because that's a major concern with Turner's. That's why, and I actually found out that the HRT is not just for, like, I've had so many doctors in my adulthood say, we don't even care if you actually have a cycle. We want what it gives you beyond that. And that's kind of just a sign that it's working, you know, that it is a high enough dose that it's helping you or it's doing something. I mean, I think I've told you guys, I got told I can only have a cycle like 3 times a year if I wanted. I'm not going to go to that, but there's so many benefits from it, and bone density is one of them. And it's a really important thing to pay attention to. My brain is all over the place. Every 1 to 2 years, not sure. My doctor even photocopied mine and checked into all the tests I may need. Yeah, that's great. I probably need to do that next time I go to my endo. Just share it. You know, I'm always afraid that things might get worse because it seems like recently they haven't been going all too well. Well, you kind of got to just take things as they come. Take things at reality, what's actually going on, and kind of stick with this is what you know, and that's all you can do. Yeah, I know it's hard. If you do not have a doctor open to learning and listening to you, find another one. Yeah, I really struggled with that. It's hard because you feel like they're supposed to be the authority, right? But Turner's is such a special thing that, and we're always learning more, that I feel like if they're not willing to be up on the newest stuff, they're not going to be able to meet you where you're at and with what you need. And if they have patients that have Turner's, they should care about that. I got a bone density scan to see if I was fully grown. Yeah, I've heard of that too. I hope nothing is super wrong when I go to check it out. If there's 2 things I don't need, it's another doctor and another pill. Well, such is TS life, right? I know. That's one of my biggest hurdles is like getting over the fact that I'm dependent on a pill. I hate it. That's literally my biggest pet peeve with everything Turner's. But I know I need it. I feel better when I'm good. I feel better when I'm paying attention to that stuff. Yes, Kendra. Thank you. And I took mine today too. So you guys can keep me accountable that I did take mine too. I'm horrible at remembering, and then when I started not feeling good when I took it, that was the beginning of me getting really bad with it because I'm like, I don't want my stomach to hurt, so I don't really care if I take it. But I needed to care. So, thank you. Yes, my mom gets on to me too. I know. It's just hard. And I think that's with everything. That can even be with like going to the doctor's appointments. If you're not good about it, you're not doing the work you need to do. But it's not a fun thing. Like, it's not something I want to do, you know? So, yeah. Anyways, I'm glad I have you guys to talk to while I finish making my pizza. I think Andrew's is going to be done before mine. Yeah, mine is usually taking it at night too. I'm such a night owl, that's usually best, but who knows? Trying to be more of a morning person. It just doesn't work for me, guys. Like, at all. Anybody that's seen me in the morning in real life, you can ask Andrew. It doesn't happen. But, anyways, I've only had 2 good endos and 4 total. The 2 doctors that were not good didn't seem like they read into it or even read my file before seeing me. That's frustrating. And that's kind of how I felt with my endo that brushed me off. I was kind of like, isn't that a thing you should be aware of? Like, if somebody that you're in charge of caring for, with all of these needs, in the nicest way possible, that's your job. Like, that's literally your job. So, yeah. It's frustrating. And if you can't get past that, honestly, don't feel bad trying to find another. Because that's important. I'm barely 14 and I already hate going to the doctor. Girl, I hated going to the doctor when I was 14 also. I always got major white coat syndrome because I've gotten better with it as I've become an adult. But when I was little, when I was really little, I was a horrible patient. Like, my mom talks about taking me when I was a baby to the pediatrician, and I would cry before he even touched me. But as like an early teens through now, I'm a very easy patient. I just get nervous. which means I talk more. You guys can imagine me actually talking more. I'm not a morning person either. Yeah, I'm not at all. You can ask Andrew. He'll tell you. I'm not a morning person. And yeah. The endo I have now actually gave me the new guidelines. That's awesome. That's a good, I like that. That's a good sign. If she's giving you the guidelines, or they. Yeah, you said she, okay. If she's giving you the guidelines, that's awesome. Very, very cool. Okay, I'm almost done with my pizza. I think I told you guys, it's a veggie one, but I got pepperoni to put on it because I didn't want veggie. My endo ordered all the tests I requested and then scheduled my next follow-up for a few months out to give himself time to review. That's awesome. See, I need to remember to print out the care guidelines and take it with me when I go to the endo next. I haven't been to the endo in a while because of my gynecologist taking over my meds when she switched me. So I probably should, right? Even though my other doctors are watching stuff. I don't know. It used to be the endo did everything for me because I went like religiously every 6 months. And we do things every year. But like she always, when I was little, I loved my pediatric endocrinologist so much. I loved her. And she was the main doctor I ever saw. But I loved her. I would also cry when I was a kid and went to the doctor. I had to have surgery for vocal cord nodules last July. I was so nervous. Oh, that sounds harder than my neck surgeries. I will pray that that goes well. I have a major fear of needles, just me or anyone else. Oh no, girl, that is me too. I hate needles. I have great veins, so like today, they have no trouble finding them ever. If they know what they're doing, they have no trouble finding them ever. But I hate needles. I hate them. With a passion, I don't like needles. Ugh. That's why I'm glad the blood work I usually have to do doesn't happen more than once or twice a year generally. My gyno has taken over most of my care. He orders tests for diabetes, liver, thyroid, and everything. That's good. When I first started to have to do blood tests, I actually locked myself in a room and had to get someone to unlock the door. Oh. Yeah, I don't like those. I've had oh wait, I hated needles, hated the growth hormones. I feel like God was like, you're welcome, when I didn't have to do growth hormone shots, because I don't think I would have been able to get through those. Just really don't. I've had doctors call me trying to tell me not to get tests done. I think it's because insurance doesn't want to pay. Oh. That's interesting. See, I've never had insurance not cover a test at all. I have had them, here, let me put this in really quick. I have had them not cover all of it. But even like, it was really cool. Guess what, guys? The oven's hot. What do you know? Even my, what was I saying? Oh, wrong light. When my reproductive endo I saw, goodness gracious me, when he was doing the blood work that I had for all the fertility blood work I had, he was like, I'm gonna have your regular endo order it so you don't actually have to pay for it, because my insurance would cover blood work ordered by my endo. They would not cover blood work for fertility stuff. So, well, no. I take that back. What test was it that he said? An echo? I can't remember now. I thought it was my blood work. Whatever the tests he couldn't get insurance to cover, if it was ordered through him, he had my endo order so that insurance would cover it and I wouldn't have to pay. because insurance doesn't like to cover fertility stuff, which is annoying. I have a panic attack almost every time I see a needle. Oh, that's not fun. Me too. I used to need to get a shot of penicillin when I would develop an ear infection. Oh, gosh. I had the pink bottle of stuff. I always knew that was coming out when I got an ear infection. I'm glad I didn't have to get shots. I had to do growth hormone for 6 years daily. I could not have done that. I just would, oh gosh, I could not have done that. Haven't seen my reproductive endo in a while. Wonder what happened to her and why I haven't seen her in so long. You saw a reproductive endo for what? Were you seeing them for fertility stuff? Probably your hormone levels, maybe. Are you asking me or somebody else, Kendra? We had to line up from tallest to shortest in science class today, and of course I was the last, and everyone started laughing at me. There was literally one class in my life I was ever not the absolute shortest in it. You kind of gotta just, kids can be mean. I'm sorry, kids can be mean. My sister just told me recently she took one of my growth hormone needles and would give her Cabbage Patch Kid doll shots. Oh, that's sweet. I had growth hormone with a passion, too many needles. Oh, or I hated growth hormone with a passion, too many needles. Yeah, I couldn't do it. I hated growth hormone shots. Yeah. Yes, Kendra, yes. They took like 10 vials of blood, if you guys remember the video. If you haven't, you can go back in my playlist and look. I think it's in the fertility journey playlist. I had like 10 or 12 vials of blood taken that day. It was insane. And yeah, it was to do my hormone levels because he was testing like the I always mess this up, FSH level. And it was things like that, and he was like, they're not going to want to cover it if I order it because they're going to know it's fertility stuff. But if she orders it, they won't know. He was nice and helped me have them covered because that's important. I'm going to put you guys back here so I can get the pizza out. Okay. I think I missed another one. I was going to her because my endo wanted my levels checked. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. That's why I went. Not because my endo wanted it to. I wanted to. But. Ooh. Gotta love Costco pizza. And the other one I just put in, so it's not done yet. You guys want to see how this is acting? It's looking a little... bleh. Unfortunately, things didn't work out as planned. You mean the levels? Like, it wasn't good results? I had that also. That's when I had really bad anxiety because I really wanted to have kids. I cried on the way home from that appointment. Look how it's acting. It's kind of... oh, it's going to fog the camera up. It's kind of sagging a little bit, I think. I can't tell. Hopefully this turns out okay. So now we just have to wait for that one. I'm going to give it a few minutes. Okay. So, has anybody... I know somebody said they'd had liver levels off as well. Has anybody ever heard of liver function being an issue? Because I know the liver can be like... it's the liver and kidneys can be like malformed or something. I think. Alexa, dining room lights on. I know the kidneys can be malformed, but can't the liver as well? I feel like I'm thinking maybe there's a connection to TS and liver problems. I've had so many ear infections as a kid. My parents stopped taking me and would just give me antibiotics we still had in the fridge. Yeah, I Oh gosh, I had ear infections all the time when I was little. All the time. I got them constantly. Um, there we go. That's semi better. Your Alexa heard me. I'm sorry. Do you have dining room lights that I just turned on? TS can have liver issues. Yes, I thought so. I had surgery and they saw I had a little bit of fatty liver, probably due to gluten. I'm now gluten free. See, they tried to say there was the beginning stages of that with me too. I'm like, this is really interesting. This can't be a coincidence. Like the whole gluten thing, liver levels. I feel like that's very connected and everything. I feel much better. Good. I didn't know till about a week after, and I started to cry because I thought of all the kids I would never be able to have. They could have found the cure for cancer or been a writer. I have kind of just gone through my process with it. I very much have had it be a process and a journey and something that I've had to take like really, really seriously in allowing myself to grieve and being intentional about that, because that's hard and you need to allow that for yourself because it's a part of it. No matter what the source of it is, it's a part of it. And that's not a small thing. Are ear infections part of Turner's? Yes. Turner's are very, very prone to ear infections, and I got a ton of them as a kid. There are many things that cause increased liver enzymes, such as high insulin levels. I didn't know that. I've also heard gallstones are correlated with high liver levels, which they also told me I had, and she acted like I should have known I had them. I didn't. But she also didn't make the connection to the estrogen level. So I have no clue. I also had ear infections all the time. Oh yes, I know ear infections all too well. They suck because they hurt. Yeah. Also, my celiac too caused it. See? Interesting, Lindsay. Oh gosh, this is so interesting. I'm so glad that I do not develop ear infections anymore. Me too. I still always close to having one. Like, I feel like right on the verge of it all the time when I get a cold. But I haven't in a while, so that's good. I think infertility will hit us at times throughout every stage of life. It is so hard. Yes. It is never going to be something I'm done processing. Like, ever. I'm always going to be trying to process it and work through it. Always. And every new piece of this, every new piece of going through foster care, every new piece of the process as a whole, just watching people, it's all a new piece to it. I mean, I have 2 female siblings that I could use whoever sperm I want to use with them, but how do you even begin to start that conversation? I mean, if you feel open to talking to them about how you feel about infertility, I've had so many people, I've been blessed enough to be willing to listen. And I don't know. I think if that's something you really want, I don't know why be afraid to even just come out straight and ask, you know? If that's what you're really thinking, say, hey, I don't know how you feel about this, but you know this is really important to me, something like that. I just found out that China doesn't allow African Americans to adopt. That has put an end to my future plans. What? That's crazy. I've never heard that. That's horrible. I've never heard that. That's horrible. Now I develop wax in my ears. I get a lot of earwax too. I had gallstones and my gallbladder removed. Wow, I didn't know that could be a TS thing. Well, I feel like mine was connected to my HRT, honestly. Like, I have no evidence to prove this at all. My liver levels might tell me something, but yeah. I have an older and younger sister, so it'll be weird either way. I don't know what I'm gonna say or do. I think take your time. I think just go slow with it. There's no need to rush. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna go because I think my pizza is almost ready, so we're almost ready to eat. Is there any final questions you guys have? I can try to answer a few more before I go. I'm glad I did this. This was really fun. I love when I can hop on live and actually get to talk to you guys. I definitely will keep you guys updated once I find out what they are. Hopefully it's all good. Hopefully. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I will let you guys know how the crust turns out. I was wondering, is hard earwax a common thing? My mom and I are kind of interested. I don't know if a particular, like, texture of the wax is or anything, but I definitely get quite a bit. Yeah. And my ears fill full really, really quickly. And that's the best word I can even describe it with. I have hard earwax. I don't know. That I would have to look into. But I feel like just ear things in general have been. I've not had ear issues. That's good. I haven't had as many as I've gotten older, besides like having moderate. What was the moderate mid-frequency hearing loss? It's really weird. I don't know. That's interesting. That would be interesting. Okay. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and making the pizzas with me. If you have any other questions that I didn't get through in this video, leave them in the comments of the replay and I can try to answer them after. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, and yeah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye!